Welcome to Cobra Kai Never Dies. Today we're talking about the season 2 finale, No Mercy. And what's cool about this title is season 2 starts out with Mercy Part 2. That's the episode title. So,
right, because season 1 ends with Mercy, the episode.
IMDb synopsis. Tensions between the two dojos finally come to a head on the first day of school. The resulting showdown leaves one student fighting for their life. I feel like it's a little spoily. I don't know. I mean, it could have easily been like, if they wanted to do like Stingray fighting for his life or something, it could have been any student, but we know which student it is, sadly.
Mm-hmm. But just, this is a really excellent episode, and it is
for a season that we've felt kind of all over the place about. It really wrapped up in a really satisfying way.
And you know, I could actually. Sorry to get into the retrospective part right now, but what the hell?
We're
playing fast and loose. I mean, the thing is, probably the reason why season 2 is not so good is because they had this glorious ending in mind the entire time. And it's a really great episode, like just a lot of like good things coming to a head. But I almost feel like they had this in mind, an all-school brawl, that's what they wanted, between like 9 different sets of rivals. And then they had to go backwards. Like, they had to, like, basically work backwards throughout the entire season to set it up. And while the payoff is, like, really good, it's not... The setup was not very organic feeling.
Yeah. I don't know if they could have done it any other way. Maybe if they'd done more with Tory's character and Sam's character throughout the season. Everyone faces off with everyone, but really the storyline that continues to pack a punch is Miguel and Johnny, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you
I suppose we got to start at the beginning, which continues like...
Starts in a very disturbing way. Clothes flung off in all directions. This is not Carmen and Johnny.
No, it is... it's Daniel and Amanda in bed together, making pretty gross pillow talk.
Yeah, and they're like, do you think the kids heard us? So that's when Daniel goes out and finds that Sam has not come home. And we see Anthony, guys. Anthony watch.
Anthony is back from, I guess, computer camp.
Right, from his 2-year kind of exile in Siberia.
He's been gone the entire summer. He asked his dad to make him waffles. But, you know, Daniel just doesn't give a shit.
He barely registers his presence.
Yeah.
The presence of his son who has been missing. Because Sam has gone AWOL for 12 hours. And so...
This is something where, like... So the episode starts off as like, like now we gotta like resolve this beef. Where's Sam? Oh my god. All of this I feel like could have been averted if like Robbie just texted them. Like he has the LaRosso's numbers. Like he must know that they're gonna be going apeshit over their missing daughter. Like I don't know.
I mean, Robbie's situation is a little bit more precarious because he is a guest in the LaRusso home, and he's presumably Sam's boyfriend, so his loyalties are kind of to her first,
right?
And also wanted to like preserve the good image.
But like, yeah, so it's a little bit not necessarily completely implausible, but like it's an odd series of events, like where it's like, okay, my girlfriend's super drunk and is afraid to face her parents super drunk, so I'm gonna like take her somewhere else. But then it's just like, don't you think they'll be even more pissed if she doesn't come home?
Yeah.
And then like, they, like, the LaRussos go to Sam's room. Sam's mom has the password to her computer, which checks out, actually.
Yeah. What do you think her password is?
Oh my god.
Pulpo? Oh my
really?
god, what if it's No Mercy?
I'd like that. That would...
No, that's not a Sam password.
Not so
Tweet
much.
at us, guys.
I would be curious to know, but Amanda knows it, and Aisha's been like messaging her, being like, "Hey, did you get home okay? You were so drunk last night."
Aisha's a good friend.
Yeah, but like, what's interesting is that so that happens. Daniel uses Find My Phone to track her iPhone. He drives to like where the iPhone is, which is of course Johnny's apartment. He sees the Cobra Kai mobile outside,
and automatically he's triggered.
Right, and this is like, the way this works is that there's like a nice moment actually when Robbie is like in Johnny's apartment and he sees like, you know, these old pictures that he drew when he was a kid, his old soccer trophies from when he was 8.
Again, and I said, Johnny planted them there like
oh my
2
God.
days ago.
This episode actually has, like, this is, a lot goes on in a very short amount of time, and it's all pretty well done, but I do appreciate, like, after 2 seasons of, like, Johnny and Robbie just not being able to, like, connect.
Yeah.
There's, like, a couple of just nice moments that are not overplayed.
Yeah, like, Robbie decides, he says he'll take the heat for Sam getting drunk, and you can tell Johnny kind of quietly approves of this kind of, like, chivalry.
Right. I mean, there's also, again, not totally implausible to me, but, like, you know, he's like, it'll crush LaRusso to know that Sam was drunk, and it's just like, why will it?
Actually, I think he's right about that, because throughout the episode you see every time Sam tries to clear things up and be like, this is sort of partially my fault, or Robbie didn't do this, like, Daniel just doesn't want to hear anything bad about his daughter at all. Like, he's completely in denial about it, and I think it's really frustrating.
He loves her as much as he hates Anthony.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, she could have blamed the whole thing on Anthony, to be honest. And he would have been like, okay, that checks out.
Anthony was behind it all. Yeah, no, I mean, actually, that's a pretty good point. In fact, to the point that it's like, because I like this episode so much, and it almost makes the rest of the season look weaker, like, that's a theme that the show has not really explored, but probably should have, which is that, like, Daniel idolizes his daughter.
He has tunnel vision about the things that he holds, like, certain truths in his life.
And when you think about it, that's got, like, if they actually explored this, that's got to be pretty hard on Sam, too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't, your dad just thinks, like, you're perfect all the time.
Well, I think
and living
that's
up to that image.
The deeper theme in that, because, like, yeah, she spirals out at this party because she's got all these feelings, and like, she's a teenager, so she's going to act out, but that's not really seen by her parents.
Right.
They think she's perfect.
It's weird, because it's like this entire show for 2 seasons, they struggle to, like, sort of figure out, like, what to do with Sam. And I feel like, just right in, like, the last 2 episodes, they kind of, like, edge towards something. Like, yeah, that's an interesting thing, where it's like, she's a teen, she, like, fucks up, and, like, it's almost like, but her dad just doesn't want to see that, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Robbie says he's going to take the heat for her and say that he, I guess, got drunk, and
I don't know. It's not a very well thought out excuse. I don't know how he I mean, because, like, Sam looks hungover,
and also,
like,
she
looks like she had a rough night.
Right. And so it's just like, okay, and so you got drunk and wanted to come here, and what? Why wouldn't Sam just call home then? But anyways. So
Daniel shows up super angry.
And Johnny, who's basically been like, I'm going to back you up, I'm going to cover for you, is like, I'm not going to...
He's totally calm.
He's very calm. He's like, I'm not going to let you in until you calm down. And then like, Daniel
flips out.
Yeah. He kicks down the door. They get into a fight.
How do you feel about the fact that the first real fight that they've had happens in Johnny's shitty living room? Does that check out to you?
Sure, but this fight is stupid. Like, the motivation for it is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, they really wanted them to fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I get it, like, we gotta do this, right? They had their moment, like, in the penultimate episode. Now it's like, for some reason, everybody thinks we're, like, really desperate to see Johnny and Daniel fight.
Yeah, do you feel, like, attract emotionally? Because I felt like, okay, they had this really nice... I can believe it of Daniel, because Daniel never shows any growth. He, like, has this whole arc, and it seems triggered by specific scenes. Like, he talks to a fisherman. He's like, okay, maybe I should change my behavior. Or, hey, I had this heart-to-heart with Johnny. Like, he's had a few heart-to-hearts with Johnny, and it never really actually seems to change his impression.
Right. And, like, the one thing that you can say is, like, okay, well, I guess he's obviously very worried about his daughter. But, like, none of this, like... And I'm not saying that he wouldn't be, like flipping out if he thought his daughter was in trouble, but, like, none of this makes any sense. Like, he knows that Sam was drunk, like, because he saw, like, the text from Aisha. So, first of all, he already knows that. And so, like, and, you know, at no point does Robbie ever, like, tell the lie that he was planning to tell, that, like, I was drunk. But also, just, like, he knows that she was drunk, and he knows why Sam is here, because, like, Robbie, like, took her here.
Yeah, you think... I had guessed that maybe he's angry that she or Robbie, who he now considers, like, it's a rivalry, right? And it's at its base. So he wants everyone to choose him over Johnny in every situation.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that, like...
So it has his, like, surrogate son and his daughter basically choosing Johnny.
But not really. Like, his daughter's, like, hungover as shit. And...
I don't know. Johnny just makes a convenient scapegoat in every situation.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, it's honestly just, like... I will contrast this to stuff that happens later in the episode, but, like, this is just perplexing. Like, they really wanted these two guys to fight.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, but, like, seriously, and also, like, after they fight, and, like, there's, like, a scene, and things break, etc., etc., and my comment that I wrote down was, like, why are they fighting?
Yeah, and I don't buy just everything we've seen from Johnny this season, and even in this episode. I just don't think that he would participate in the fight.
Right.
I think he would just be like, we've got other problems.
Yeah, and, like, I get it, like, Daniel wants to fight, but,
yeah.
like, but seriously, it's like, what, also, like, Johnny, what are you trying to stop him from doing? Like,
I
from seeing his daughter hungover?
I think if Amanda had witnessed that, like, the divorce papers would be on the table.
Yeah, none of that makes any sense,
It's
and, like...
just so juvenile.
And then he's, like, after, like, okay, so, like, they have this fight, and then Sam runs out and is like, stop it, which she probably should have done, like, at the beginning of it. And also, during the fight that they have flashbacks to Johnny and Daniel, like, fighting at the tournament.
That was so ham-fisted.
And that's dumb. Because it's like...
Everything about this is different.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, that's not the same... That fight was because they were, like, in a tournament together. Like, this fight is just, like, because the producers really think we wanted to see them fight. And then, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And then, like, Daniel's like, what, you want to be just like your father, Robbie? And it's just like...
That was cold-blooded.
Right.
Like,
and it's also
Daniel
like, wait, what do you think
was
Robbie
utterly
did?
savage to Robbie in this. Like, I've never felt more for Robbie than in this episode.
You're right.
Where Daniel, like, he's been living there for, like, the better part of a year. Mm-hmm. He's spent all this time with him. He's bonded with him more closely. He's probably spent more time with Robbie than he has with Sam recently, or his real son, Anthony.
Oh, God, so much more time.
Yeah, and he's immediately goes to this tribal place, and he was like, you know... I gave you a second chance, which I don't understand, actually. What does that mean? Like...
Oh, I guess after, like, he was mad at Robbie after learning that Robbie lied about shit.
Okay.
That's from last season.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm honestly just like, wait, okay. You already know that Sam was drunk.
Right.
It seems like Robbie brought her here, like, it doesn't seem like he brought her here to, like, mac on her. Like, why would you bring somebody to your dad's place to do that? Yeah. It sounds like he just brought her here. Like, what are you mad about, dude? I mean, you should be...
I don't know. Parents tweeted us. I mean, because it just seems very irrational.
Yeah. And I get that maybe when you think your kid is in danger, like, you're going to be irrational, but it's also like, but if you know and trust Robbie, and what is even...
Like, yeah, I don't really... Again, it's kind of like...
Is it because he found out they were dating?
No, I think Daniel... But he makes his opinions... very early on, and he does not change them for anybody. So he had his opinion about Johnny. That's never really going to change. No matter how many, like, initial...
I mean, I
just don't see any growth at all. And I Robbie,
actually disagree. And you know I'm usually on team let's shit on Daniel, but, like, I think that he does, like Johnny, you see him stumbling, like, towards growth, and then sometimes regressing a little bit. But this entire fight scene just, like, it just kind of made me think, like, come on, writers, you can do better than this.
I don't know. I think he wants to be a better person, but I think, like, what you said last episode about he's kind of an asshole, like, and he tried... See, Johnny and him both have their, like, dickish qualities, but, like... Daniel still thinks he's a good guy.
No, that's definitely, like, the crux of it.
And that's why his dickishness always comes out of nowhere. It's like,
You know, actually what would have made it better for me is if that was true. Like, if the scene was, like, tweaked a little bit. Like, as if he was like, oh my god, I know you got my daughter drunk, Robbie. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be irrational. It would be dickish. But it would be, like, the connective tissue that you need to make sense of the scene. Where it's like, what...
In some sense, I mean, I will say when I see my parents mad at stuff and, like, they're just, like... They'll cast the blame net wide, and it's like, you're watching this, you're like, none of this makes any sense. So I'm wondering if it's a parent thing. Like, Daniel's just behaving like an Indian parent would.
I would totally accept Daniel behaving like an irrational immigrant parent. Definitely. It's just almost like they needed more, like, lines to that effect. Like, Robbie, you took advantage of her, or Robbie, you did this or that, as opposed to, like, what do you think Robbie did?
Also,
I don't know.
I would have liked to see, just for Robbie's character, if we're stuck with this character for multiple seasons, like, I would like to see an actual reaction from his, like, surrogate father. Because he defends Daniel to Johnny. And he's like, he's a good guy. He let me live there. And having Daniel basically disavow him.
Yeah, no, that was...
For something that isn't his fault.
Actually, again, this episode's very good. Like, not this particular scene, but, like, the next time, like, we see Robbie is, like, Johnny's driving him to school. And Johnny got him, like, you know, like, pencils and papers and is talking about how he couldn't find a trapper keeper for him.
And then Robbie, in his only funny line, was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. But it's very nice because you can, like, you see them, I guess, not even bonding. You see them, like, sort of, like Robbie is, like, actually grateful, like, to have his dad there at that moment in time. But he's not overplaying it. Like, he's, like, and he's like, kind of like, he's like, yeah, no, thanks, Dad, I appreciate it. But he also is like, but, like, you know, I feel really bad about, like, Mr. LaRusso, you know, you're not going to want to hear it, but he was really good to me. And it's just, like, I like that, too, that it's, like, clearly he's very hurt. And he's, yeah, I mean, this is, like, a good moment for Robbie. Like,
yeah. And in the car, Johnny, like, gets a call from Miguel, and he decides not to take it. And I wonder if it's, like, this whole thing is about chosen family versus your actual family. And Daniel is very tribal, and he's like, you know, he says that line about, like, yeah, we try to, like, do this thing and, like, have a community approach to parenting, but now I got my own family to worry about. It's like, well, fucking Anthony's part of your real family. You don't care about him.
The less said about him, the better.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, Johnny is, like, taking away all the wrong lessons from this.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like, his son is clearly distraught. I know his other, like, karate son is calling, but I'm sure Johnny is just like, I'll call him back. Like, I'd feel the same way if I was talking to, like, somebody going through a crisis.
How many of my calls have you silenced?
I mean, all of them.
How dare you?
I'm not going to talk to you about your, like, latest 80s pop crisis.
God damn it, I call about other things.
Please. So anyways, like, everybody's back at school.
Cruel Summer's playing.
There's a lot of, like, neat moments, like, where, like, so Robbie, like, comes up to Sam's locker and like,
yeah,
you know, and like,
what do you think about this scene?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I did.
I really did, because Sam is so traitorous and so weak-willed, because Robbie, I feel like Robbie showed more growth in this episode and more character than he
ever has.
Yeah, this is his episode in some ways, in that he does the hard thing, and he's like, he comes clean about Miyagi Metalgate.
And I love that, because the previous episode, when Sam finds out that Miguel returned the medal, like, you know, you would this show is like, this was like almost a return to form. Like, you would expect Sam to confront Robbie about it.
Yeah.
You don't really expect Robbie to be like, I'm just going to be honest and tell you how I felt, which is that I felt insecure. We had just kissed. I didn't want him to win any points with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that.
That's a very clean and honest apology. And Sam is on the verge of apologizing, but the bell rings.
And, you know, you cannot keep talking after the bell rings.
Absolutely not. Do you think that she would have come clean? I don't.
No.
I don't.
No.
I think she just lives her life in fear. She's still playing the good girl, and so she doesn't want she doesn't want to lose face in front of her parents or Robbie or anybody.
And you know what? Like, again, everyone who I hate has, like, shown more growth, like, in this episode than ever before.
Except for Anthony.
Well, no. But, I mean, Anthony's perfect.
Still
he doesn't
wants
need
waffles.
to grow. Never
Pancakes?
will get them.
Yeah.
But, like, but Sam, like, I think that is interesting. Because, like I told you, they've always failed to make Sam interesting. But, like, I do think what you said, like, she is terrified of losing face. She's terrified of being honest and for people seeing, like, that she's not, like, a perfect good girl, which is, like, interesting, and you kind of feel for her even when she's, like, kind of at fault for everything.
Yeah. And so we're back at homeroom, whatever the kids are calling it these days.
And it's important because, like, Miguel and Aisha are saying that they have not seen Tory since the party. They keep texting her. She's not texting back. They're worried that, like, I don't know, the cops arrested her or something, and they're rude.
And we gotta get Miguel some better friends, because he's confiding in Hawk that he kissed Sam.
Don't confide in Hawk
and
about
Hawk
anything.
is predictably spouting more gems, like, why just confine yourself to one woman?
Yeah, he's
I'll
not going to do
have
that.
a stable of chicks by the end of the semester or whatever.
And this is when a very nice kid comes up to him and tells him, like, hey man, I wet the bed until I was 13. It's nothing to be ashamed of. which I don't know why, but I was just kind of like, sure, somebody would be like that. Why not?
The things that maybe the theme is the things people will do to save face.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's a very good point, because it's like, of course, like Hawk shoves him and is like, nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Before we get to the meat of the episodes, do we want to talk about Stingray randomly
we got it. Stingray shows up.
I think he fulfills his ultimate dream of just basically being back in high school.
Yep. He interviews to be a security guard.
He's in a suit.
Is the interviewer, who's I guess the principal, seems rightfully confused as to why he's there, and like why, well, okay, you have no security guarding experience, and also I don't even think they were hiring for a security guard.
I mean, in some ways, being part of Cobra Kai is... I don't know what it takes to be a security guard.
He does mention that he won like the capture the flag challenge.
That's such a hilarious thing.
He keeps the flag in his pocket.
Sure.
Which is pretty good.
As you would.
Yeah, I would. We are Stingray. I maintain that.
Oh, God.
He's the only millennial presence on this show.
This is the most depressing
he represents
takeaway.
us.
We can't do season 3 now. I'm like in a full-on existential spiral.
We should probably just kill ourselves. But Stingray...
And that's how the show ends. Just mass suicide. Okay, so I think... let's get to Tory, because Tory is kind of the catalyst. She's gone rogue. She's been missing for the first hour of school, but she's back, and she straight up takes over the
school announcements, like,
yes.
Like on the loudspeaker. She fucking like goes in there, commandeers the microphone, and says, "Oh, let's just play it. Come on, let's play it."
Give that back! Ow! You're not allowed to. Samantha LaRusso. You know what you did, and now you're gonna pay for it. I'm coming for you, bitch!
And, man...
It's glorious.
It's pretty glorious. Like...
I mean, to have someone as passive as Sam get called out publicly like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, is it insane? Yes.
Totally
Am I frightened
insane.
of Tory? Totally.
I mean, God, I would even say, okay, so what happens next is like, everybody starts rushing towards it. First of all, Tory didn't mention a location. But I don't know, everybody seems to subconsciously know where to go.
This high school is like huge. It's like 14 floors.
And yet they all know to converge in this exact hallway. And you see like both Miguel and Robbie sprinting to this hallway, and it's like, how do you guys know where to sprint to? I don't understand. Tory did not mention
Have they memorized,
where they would throw down.
Maybe they both memorized Sam's schedule and know where she is.
They must be in like hallway C.
Because what's sad is I feel like no one's coming for Tory's. Well, maybe
Miguel is,
and that's true because when the fight starts in earnest, so
it's great.
Yeah, Tory and Sam are like circling each other like sharks,
and there's like. I'm going to say it. I think that the Tory and Sam fight is actually my favorite of all the fights.
Yeah, that's true. And they actually spend the most time on their interaction, which I was surprised at because normally you'd think Miguel and Robbie, they haven't spent that much time with each of these characters.
They, like, Miguel and Robbie, like, despite them, like, facing off in the tournament in season 1 and them, like, dating the same girl. There's no real heat. They don't interact enough. Like, Tory and Sam... Again, man, this episode's so good that I just wish that they'd made a better rivalry out of it all season. But Tory and Sam have definitely spent more time, like, facing off than they have. And, like, also, can I bring, like, a bit of, like, a personal story into the... Not personal, but, like, professional, actually.
Did you beat someone up at work? We're gonna hear it all, guys.
I can't talk about it, Nina. But, all right, one of my early jobs as a lawyer was actually, like, working for a city called New York. Where,
that was cryptic.
I was like, should I like keep it a secret? But whatever. I was working for the city of New York, and it was in family court. So like my job was actually in the prosecution of juvenile offenders. But what's interesting is that like a lot of the cases that involve like outright assault of juveniles assaulting like other juveniles. A lot of them involve girls. In fact, I would almost say that like most of them did.
Yeah.
And
see many Tory archetypes.
Kind of, yeah. Like a lot of them involved girls, and it's so interesting because it was usually about a boy flirting with somebody.
I hate that. If violates the Bechdel test, couldn't they be fighting over like
what, you know? What?
Fucking
what?
Homework?
Pre-calc?
There's
no.
other things.
But I mean, if it makes you feel like better, which I don't know why it would, but like the instigating thing would usually be about a boy or something like that. But like, you know, you would see sometimes like there'd be video footage of the fights, and it was like this was not like, you know, everybody's like chick fight. No, these were like
Hair
real
pulling,
fucking
yeah.
fights. Like these were, and
brass knuckles.
Yeah, and there was something about like. There's like in the fight between Tory and Sam, like it's the most visceral of the fights. Tory like screams in a way that's like scary. There was something about it that almost seemed weirdly realistic to me because you can tell, I think, that like Sam is a girl who's like never been in a real fight. And you know what? I'm going to say that most of the kids we see like kung fu fighting in this episode have never been in a real fight before. I think Tory has.
Oh yeah, and like every part of this fight is like gold, but when towards the end when Tory and her are on the staircase and she's like, what does she say? She says like this isn't a tournament.
Yeah, there aren't any
no
rules.
And then she moves the brass knuckles down.
Yeah.
And I was like, is she gonna like slit her throat? Because I thought that's what was gonna happen. I was like,
is this murder?
Do you think that she would have killed her?
I think Tory was really mad, and I think she was going to fuck Sam up. I don't think she was thinking of the consequences of murdering somebody in a hallway.
I mean,
but
do you think someone would like hijack an announcement room? Like,
no, I mean
the
that's
first day of school,
pure theater. But
right, because
more realistically, like she would have like cornered Sam after school where there weren't witnesses. But like,
speaking of which, this high school is lawless. So the assistant principal and the principal like try to break it up, and then one gets like beat up by a Cobra Kai, and then he's just like, no,
yeah,
no.
I mean, I should mention, I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you haven't seen the episode or like the show, but like
there are people that do that.
Yeah, strange but true. But like, it starts with the Tory on Sam fight. Quickly it spreads to other participants, like, you know, so eventually you've got like what seems like the entire school fighting in the hallways, which is a little ridiculous. But then then they sort of pare it down, so it's like really just like 5 or 6 fights as opposed to like every fucking person fighting every other person, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then, but eventually they sort of are like, no, let's like say there's 5 or 6 fights, and then the rest of the school is like following them to watch, which kids would totally do. But, you're right, like the principal, like at one point Dimitri goes to get a teacher, and like the teacher's like watching another like teacher like get like decked by a student, which like, come on now. No matter how mad you are, like, I think that would get you, like, suspended for life.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I could see this happen. There's certainly schools.
Sure,
that
I
suppose.
And you could,
I mean, do I wish that does it happen at our high school? Absolutely.
Right. I mean, it's pretty... So it's interesting how they make this work, because the concept is so ludicrous, like this giant brawl in school, and it just kind of works. It's goofy, and it's funny, and it just is also
what
awesome.
I love is that it's the action both stays on kind of the core 4. So like Tory and Sam, they're the main event, and then Robbie and Miguel are like tailing them both and getting into their own fight.
And this was great. This thing that I love the most. It's the opposite of the stupid Daniel Johnny thing where it's like, wait, I'm sorry, why are they fighting? Like, Tory is like beating the shit out of Sam. Robbie comes in there and pulls her off of his girlfriend, and then has her like in a chokehold against the lockers. And then like
Miguel sees that, gets involved.
Yeah, because he's like, wait, this guy's choking my girlfriend. It's
and
like,
meanwhile,
it totally makes sense.
Tory names the names, and she's like, I know what you did last summer or this summer or yesterday, whenever.
Right.
And Robbie, I don't know. Do you feel like it registered that moment? I don't know. I felt like
you see his stricken face, and later in the fight with Miguel, he's like, "You took advantage of Sam." Kind of like the same like kind of thing that
no one can believe Sam is capable of anything.
It's
kind
just
of
like
interesting.
Yeah, which is interesting. But yeah, like it totally and utterly makes sense that Miguel and Robbie start fighting, which I was just like, "Thank you, show. I knew you could justify a fight if you tried." And then everybody else kind of gets involved. Hawk does this thing where like, he sees his closest friends in fights, and his reaction is to scream, "Yes!"
Yeah, it's like he's Spartacus or something.
And then he just starts, like, busting heads. I made us rewind it so I could confirm. He does at one point, like, take 2 kids' heads and just like push them into the walls, and one of those kids is Virgin, who is in Cobra Kai and on his team.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He just wants to see the world burn.
That's true, but Hawk actually does end up going after Dimitri in this. And,
as you knew he must.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you're like, okay, this is going to be ugly for Dimitri, but Dimitri actually does get the last shot and kind of a surprise move, so it seems like he's been internalizing some Miyagi-Do moves. Ooh. And he kicks Hawk into the trophy case, and it's pretty good.
He says no hard feelings, Eli, which is it's pretty good. The only thing I would have wanted is that, like, it was established earlier this season that Dimitri is a terrible fighter, but he does have this one thing, which is his Dimitri power, which is that he worries about everything, so he can usually sense danger. I kind of thought that it would make sense if he won the fight by doing something like that.
Yeah.
But no, he just, like...
Yeah. And we can revisit this, but I'm just curious what season 3 holds for these 2 characters and their relationship.
It's pretty satisfying, though.
Yeah. So back to everyone's getting kind of pulled into this fight, but then it goes to the staircase.
Oh, wait. Can we talk about, like, my favorite? Well, yeah, before we get real with, like, the central fights, the Virgin, I mean, I guess after he's like...
Lata is going hard for this Virgin.
Right? Virgin and Asian Virgin. You
can't prove that Asian Virgin is a virgin.
I can't even prove Virgin's a virgin. But,
that's
like,
true.
The 2, like, littlest of the kids, like, have a pretty cute brawl.
They do.
Oh my god, former Hawk henchman and Hawk henchman whose names I really cannot remember.
I don't care about these 2 characters at all, and I really wish they weren't on the show anymore.
Really? Because I
kind of... nothing to this.
They add absolutely nothing, except for one thing, which is that it is just fun to see everyone, like, the tertiary, like, D-list characters, they all have their own rivals.
And I love how they're automatically pick someone kind of size appropriate.
Right. They're like, rival. I mean, yeah, you're not going to, like, be like,
it's
that
like
gigantic guy choosing, like, Asian Virgin as your rival. That's
right.
weird.
I mean,
although, yeah. But, like, yes, and the other thing is that, I don't know, man. Tell me how you feel about this. Like, there are a lot of unnamed extras in Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. And, like, when you see, like, 2 of, like, them facing off, you're like, what's their story, man? Like, what's... And it almost is kind of like, are there too many people, like, in Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do? I almost think there are. Like, we don't need to see that many people who we've never been introduced to
random
involved.
townsperson 12.
Right, who's, like, ready to punch a teacher in the face for no fucking reason. Like,
the only person that wasn't involved in that brawl was, like, Anoush. And Amanda.
Oh my god, Anoush, yes. Car salesman Anoush should have been involved.
The only person that's not allowed to do karate.
And until shit gets really real, like, there's just, it's a lot of fun. I would say that, like, Aisha, they don't know what to do with her anymore.
Yeah.
She gets to shove one guy who, like, punches her. Okay.
I feel bad for Aisha.
I kind of do. Like, they could have given her a goddamn rival, for God's sakes. Yeah. But you do get to see, like, Stingray, like, handle things.
Yeah, Stingray was never going to be a security guard. He's just a little too into...
I mean, yeah, he's like, I can handle this. And you see him just, like, fucking, like, taking out kids left and right and high-fiving Hawk. And that was, like, a moment where I'm like... All right, I got it. They did this entire season so they could, like, just do this. And I might not even have a problem with it. Okay.
Yeah. That was just enough of Stingray. I didn't need any more.
No, that was, like, the perfect amount of Stingray, which is, like, about 30 seconds or so. But, yeah. I mean, should we get real about the real...
Okay. It's been building to this. So, Tory, I will say, I feel like she's... for the most part, been winning the fight. Like, she gets in some really good hits. And Samantha's been on the defense for most of it, and I guess Sam is trying to, like, call it off and be like, and Tory is just like, she has the bloodlust in her eyes, and
it's
nothing.
Very good fight, because I think at a certain point, like, Sam realizes it's like, it's truly, like, actually scary. Like, you realize, like, in a way, actually, like, even, like, the Robbie Miguel fight isn't as scary, because Tory, like, truly wants to hurt her, and Sam, I think, at one point realizes it's like, if you don't fight, like, I think she's actually going to kill you, you know? And it's really good.
Yeah. And so you're actually rooting for both of them. It's just, like, a really good fight where you're like, okay, I see why both of you are acting. Well, Tory less so, but Tory's such a good fighter.
Yeah.
It's just, like, fun
It's
watching
a pleasure
her fight.
to watch her fight. And actually seeing her, like, so angry and unhinged, it's like...
And watching Sam show really any emotion besides, like, sulkiness and entitlement is nice to see as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, I know I feel like I'm fucking at fault for this, but I also don't want to die at this girl's hands in the hallway.
Yeah, and haven't we all been there?
Yeah, right? Remember that fight we got into?
Right.
I mean, it was
yesterday at the Y.
Oh, that got bad.
So going to Robbie and Miguel, who are really just like the supportive adjacent boyfriend fight, or
yeah, totally.
So Robbie now,
like you do,
yeah. Robbie has the knowledge that Sam kissed Miguel, but I think he thinks it's like a
I
blames Miguel.
He reframes it in his head like you took advantage of Sam, and Miguel's like I would never, and basically, and Miguel's like. She wants me, not you, which enrages Robbie more.
Yeah,
and then...
so wait, do you think there's shades of Darth Miguel here? Or, like, I feel like the whole season they've been showing that Miguel is over Sam. Like, to the extent he's, like, he wonders where Tory is, he kind of regrets the kiss, he's trying to apologize and come clean about it.
Totally.
And
he gets into the fight because he thinks Tory is threatened.
Yeah, and he feels sorry about what he did, and then it just feels inexplicable that he throws that in his face where, like, Sam loves me and not you, and it's like, love. You guys dated for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and also like,
me. And yeah,
it just seemed like a weird thing.
But you're right. It did seem kind of a weird thing. I did like more like when he headbutts Robbie and he's like, "Well, you let that move, learned it from your dad."
That was also out of character. It's like dad play.
It was a little weird, but I liked it. It was.
It's like none of these people are actually interested in romance. They just want a parent.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's so interesting because, like, Miguel and Robbie, like, they have a lot of the elements of, like, a good rivalry. Like, they have the tournament thing and the whole thing that they were into the same girl and the fact that they share a father figure. And yet, like, they just don't spend a lot of time together, man.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
It comes out of nowhere. And they don't spend, I don't know, in some ways, it's like Miguel is the heart and soul of the show, and so it makes sense that the way the episode ends would lie with him. But in some ways, it's like, okay, all this dramatic tension has been building, and it doesn't even happen. It's like with Tory and Sam, and then it gets pulled away again back to Robbie and Miguel.
And to be honest, like with the way this plays out, because we'd seen the episode before we did this rewatch for this podcast. You're welcome, listeners. Like, what's going to happen. Which, we'll get to. And I remember, like, waiting for the tragic end and being like, oh, man, they shouldn't have done this. They should have just kept this episode, like, light and weird. But it works symbolically.
Yeah, and again, it's like you see in Miguel's face, like, I don't know why he's this worked up. I don't know. I don't feel like it's super earned because he doesn't share that much history or with Robbie.
Yeah, he mainly, like, was joining the fight to get him off of Tory. And then they're like fighting because I don't know, that's what you do, I guess, in the show. But like,
then he has this like whole dad montage with Johnny, and it's like it's very affecting, and he gets pulled back from the edge.
And because it's like
and he says, "I'm sorry."
Like, he's got Robbie pinned. Actually, I kind of think that they're fighting at this point the way that like Sam has to fight Tory because Tory wants to kill her. I think Robbie's sort of maybe it would work better if Robbie looked more enraged, but like Robbie's pretty mad about like I think what he said about like Sam wanting him. Anyways, like so Robbie's like really like getting at him, and like Miguel's got him pinned down, and it looks like he's about to like I don't know. What do you think he was gonna do? Anyways, like curb stomp him. I
mean, it's kind of like the end of season 1 in the tournament where Robbie like he takes that cheap shot at Robbie and like punches him when he's injured,
right? And in this case, I guess, he could punch him when he's like down on the ground, but like he doesn't. He like has all these flashbacks of like Johnny basically saying like, I didn't know the difference between mercy and honor, and I don't want that for you. I want you to be better than me. And they're like, is this the kind of person you want to be? Which is cool. Like, and he says, I'm sorry. Yeah. Which I don't know. What do you think he was saying he was sorry for?
I thought he was saying more directly like, I'm sorry for kissing Sam. Or, like, this situation, maybe.
Maybe he's saying he's sorry for the time he didn't show mercy.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's true. A good callback. What I found interesting is that as soon as he apologizes, you, like, zoom to Robbie's face, and Robbie looks, like, incensed. and that's what gets him to like jump up and start like fighting back or like pushing Miguel over that banister, which I think is strange. It's a strange reaction to being apologized to.
I mean, I actually think it works because, like, I don't know, for some reason, like, Robbie's like, oh, fuck you. Like, this guy, like, he kisses your girlfriend, he's beaten you in a fight. He's just mad, man. And so he gets up, he kicks Miguel, and I will say this, like, I love Miguel, like he was my own son. But, like, there's another moment in the fight where, like, Sam, like, gets Tory off of her when Tory brings out the brass knuckles and ends up kicking Tory over, like, a banister. But she, like, just kind of, like, goes down a couple of stairs, right? In this case, it's like Robbie like does end up kicking Miguel over a staircase, and you see this horrible.
Yeah, it's like endless. It's like
slow motion fall. He hits like you can see his spine crack against the banister, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I love Miguel like my own son, but you know that like Robbie like did not mean to do that.
And I like that the show acknowledges that these are all teens and they react in teen ways, so it's like irrational as everyone is behaving. Like Sam immediately is like, Robbie, what have you done? And Robbie like is frightened, and he runs
see his
off.
Face where he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And Tory is also like finally pulled out of her rage and like,
yeah, because it's like, yeah, at one point in the fight, like, she kind of ends up, like, hitting Miguel, like,
yeah,
which I get, she's probably mad at him too, you know, but like, yeah, she's, like, distraught, because it's, like, there's her boyfriend, and he is, like, it looks like he fucking broke his back, it's awful, oh, God, and it's, like, this crazy thing where this episode was, like, super fun, and then suddenly you're like, ah.
Yeah, and then everyone's gathering around Miguel's body, and it cuts to Johnny, who is, again, not a fan of smartphone updates. He's, and we can all relate, but he's left out of the drama. Daniel immediately, it cuts to Daniel being in his dojo, being like putting away his Miyagi. No, that's later, but he's just like, I don't know what is Daniel.
Whatever
doing.
Daniel.
I don't know. Anyway, but Amanda's kind of like heard what's going on in the high school, so they all kind of like convene at the hospital, and I feel really bad for Johnny because Carmen is super distraught, obviously, and she immediately blames Johnny. And this unfairly.
I disagree. I mean, like, again, I hate it when people, like, you know, stuff like when, like, Daniel's really mad at, like, Robbie or Johnny for Sam being drunk, and it's like, wait, I'm sorry, what, just, where's the, you don't even have to be a logical person, but there has to be, like, something there. But when Carmen is like, before he met you, Miguel was a good, sweet boy, he never, like, he avoided fights, and it's, like, actually true. Like, this would not, I mean, I'm not saying it's, like, fair to blame him, but she's right in that, like, what's the word? Like, it's, like, correlation, but not necessarily causation, where it's, like, I don't think that, like, Johnny, like, taught Miguel to seek out fights. I think it's more that, like, he would not have been in this situation if it weren't for the fact that Johnny taught him how to fight, you know? When he was, like, you know, practicing running away, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Well, he was also not successfully always running away. He would have gotten his ass kicked.
He would have gotten his ass kicked. He would get beat up, but, like, it probably wouldn't have been quite like this. So it's like...
This was also kind of a freak incident.
Yeah, that's true,
I mean,
but,
like,
you know...
who's predicting that one of the women that your son dates will hijack a high school?
True, but, like, she's a mom, you know, and she's basically,
I know, I
like...
think it's because I have such a low tolerance for, like, it's like the misplaced blame, the irrational anger, the feelings.
But this is...
Come on,
This
now.
is much less, like, misplaced than, like, this is basically just, like...
Yeah.
You know, she's, like, really sad and distraught. She's lashing out at Johnny, and, like, she's not necessarily wrong. Like...
They've only had one date, so
they've only had one date, and, like, honestly, like... If Miguel's mom, like, knew what the early training of Miguel was like, yeah, no. I mean, she would have flipped out about it a lot sooner. So I get that. I also like, I wrote this down, I like how Sam looks fucked up.
Yes, yeah. I wrote... Because I was like, she's been in that fight for a while. Like, that fight was like half an hour or something, like, grueling.
And up until the end of the Robbie Miguel fight, it is, like, the most brutal fight.
Yeah, and I think they mentioned that she may have cracked a rib, which sounds accurate, because it's like, Tory did manage to, like, get her with the brass knuckles and, like cut her arm. Her face is fucked up.
Yeah, I like that. Like, that's just, like, I didn't think that they would have the balls to be like, yep, she was fucked up by that fight. And this is, again, like, the most I've ever felt for Sam, like, all that, and she's, like, sobbing, because she's like, it's my fault what happened to Miguel. And it is in the same way it's Johnny's fault. Like, it's, like, not really, but also kind of.
And I've never wanted to, like, strangle Daniel more, is when he's immediately like, no, it's not. And it's like, just listen to her speak, and just, stop everything you're doing. Like, he's just so tunnel vision-y, and he can't really see the forest for the trees. He doesn't seem to give a shit about... You know how it's like, if someone's your surrogate son, like, even if they mess up, you still are concerned about him? But I feel like Robbie was towing this fine line, and, like, he messes up once, and, like, Daniel's done. Daniel
does say, like, I can't believe that Robbie would do this.
Yeah, but maybe it's like Daniel just idolizes everybody. Like, he can only include people in his life if they're perfect. Like, Miyagi's Miyagi's memory, making sure, like... Maybe Miyagi had a dark side, and would he be able to handle that?
Right? No, I mean, I think that's a good point. I think that's an interesting, like, emotional terrain. I like actually, I mean, not that I like this behavior, but I like that he's like, no, Sam, you didn't do anything wrong, because it's like, I don't know, it shows that, like, Sam can't be flawed, and that, like, in his eyes, and that's probably pretty hard on her, and, like, yeah, actually, like, a very good, like, character moment for, like, almost everybody, man, in this episode. It's... yeah, but he also says, like, to Amanda, like, I'm not gonna let Cobra Kai get away with this.
And it's like, again, it's like season 1 Daniel. I've seen nothing.
Right? And it's like...
And Amanda, you can tell how frustrated she is.
This is Amanda who's finally like, nope.
Like, you saw what your daughter looked like.
Yeah. No more karate. This is not about Cobra Kai. This is like, yep, alright, finally you're just, like, fucking, like, drawing the line in the sand, and, like, also, Daniel, like, I'm not gonna let Cobra Kai get away with this. Your student killed someone, or nearly killed someone.
Yeah, so it's like, Robbie is his son, as long as he's, like, enrolled in school and living at the LaRussos, but as soon as he, like, has any contact with Johnny, or, like, does anything wrong, he's suddenly Cobra Kai's property. He's like...
Or maybe he's actually just talking about Tory, like, beating the shit out of his daughter.
Really?
Actually, maybe, because
I realized... He hasn't talked about Tory at all.
But, I mean, Tory's the one.
He doesn't even know about Tory.
I mean, he must. Come on. Oh, no, he does, because it's like, Amanda at the beginning is like, we're going to get that girl expelled. They know, like, who was wailing on their daughter. I'd actually, you know what, actually, when I think about it, I was honestly, like, baffled why he was angry at Cobra Kai, but it's like, to be honest... And I don't even mean this as a fault, but he's probably thinking about his own daughter. A Cobra Kai girl beat her up. He's probably not even thinking that much about Miguel and Robbie at this point, you know?
Yeah.
But I really, really like this. That, like, there's a scene where Johnny is just, like, he's really fucked up over Miguel. He's having a montage of all their father-son moments.
I know, and it's so touching.
It's really touching. You see him, like, listening to the phone message that Miguel left him, which I also like that it wasn't, like, something where it's like, oh, if you'd only picked up the phone, you could have stopped this. It wasn't. It was just kind of like Miguel saying, let's get a burger so I can talk about my girl problems. But, like, you see him crying, and then you see him and Daniel in the elevator together at the hospital.
Yeah, what do you think that scene meant? Because they're completely in silence. They're staring ahead, both lost in their own kind of thoughts.
I loved it. I thought it was perfect, because I really think again, like, what I liked so much about season 1 is that it subverts your easy expectations, and this is like, you expect them to start yelling at each other at the elevator. But they don't. Because it's like, shit, man. Like, Miguel, like, Johnny's surrogate son is almost dead.
Do you think it's kind of undercut by the fact that, like, they share that quiet scene, and Johnny is like, again, as you'll see later, he's like, Cobra Kai is kind of like, taken everything away from me. It's given me so much, but it's taken away, and he's like, over it. But Daniel has that quiet scene, and then, like, the next scene he's with Amanda, and he's like, they're not going to get away with this.
I think that was a scene... No.
Okay,
no.
so it's after.
It's afterwards. I think that, like, it got through to Daniel that, like, you're at fault for this as much as anybody is. And I think that I think it's very good, because there's, like, a lot of, like, complex emotions. Mm-hmm. And, like, if they had started yelling at each other or fighting in the elevator, it would have, like, totally undercut, like, all, like, the seriousness of the situation, which is, like... You know, Daniel's daughter's fucked up, and, like, this kid nearly died, and Daniel's surrogate son and Johnny's actual son, I think, committed manslaughter. Like, a lot has happened. It's like, what are you even going to say to each other? Coffee here's terrible, right? Like, no, I mean, there's nothing. It's just like... Yeah, I thought that was such a good choice that they were just like, yeah.
Okay. Let's get to the last scenes. Okay. So Johnny is back. He's drinking out of a paper bag, and he's headed back to the dojo, his place of solace, when he hears some ominous chanting coming from the back of the dojo. Ugh. And who else is there but our friend Kreese, who's been missing only 2 episodes, but feels like longer. It was just like such a breath of fresh air to have him gone for like at least an episode and a half, where it's like you get some more, because so much of the season you realize he was like sucking it dry. Yeah, and some of that energy, you're like, even me, like noted Kreese fan, was like, Jesus Christ, what will it take to get rid of this guy? Because he's back in the dojo. He's got 8 students. And the only one I recognize is Hawk and that other meat-headed looking
Chris,
guy.
like his...
Sure,
yeah.
Chris. Let's call him Chris.
I think his name's Chris. I don't know.
And he's... Yeah, what I love about this is, like, beyond... Like, everything about it strains believability to me. That, like, a bum like Kreese could have angled... Like, stolen the dojo away in the 2 days that Johnny was gone.
Yeah. In the 2 days that Johnny was gone to, like, hang out with his friends, he somehow managed to get the lease to the dojo.
I mean, sure. And, yeah, I guess Hawk was easy pickings. He's been kind of working on Hawk. And Hawk blames Johnny for some reason for Miguel's...
All of the students are like, it's your fault that Miguel showed mercy. Students. I mean, right, whatever. I mean, first of all, it's like... the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, all of Cobra Kai turned on him? But it looks like there's 8 students. I counted them. They all are like... Miguel showed mercy, and he nearly lost his life. If he dies, it's your fault.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, they wouldn't, like, I don't know, be, like, irrational about it. I am saying that none of their parents would let them do this anymore. Like,
I don't know that these, like, gang of teens have any
Hawk
parents.
has parents. Eli Moskowitz has parents.
Yeah, but you know what? I think if you were Hawk's parent, like his mom, I would have been like, I don't know what's happening.
Oh, come on. They pay for, like, their kids to go to this dojo.
That's true.
Like, these are not... That's the thing. The scene was, like, so dumb to me, because it's, like, everything about it. Like, first of all, they're high school kids. Their parents have already yanked them out of karate at this point after, like, the fucking school brawl. It is ridiculous that they would be at this dojo at night practicing with Kreese. Kreese also is, like... Okay, so...
Maybe they're not even telling their parents about Kreese.
Maybe, but, like, it's also just, like... Okay, so let's say that they are secretly, like, taking dojo lessons. Like, Kreese, like, saying, like, I own Cobra Kai. It's like, this is a business in a strip mall. You got the lease to it. Congratulations. Like,
yeah, I want... Like, I want to talk about what kind of verbal contract you have with the landlord. Right. When did this happen?
And it's also, like... Okay, I guess you somehow seized... It's not like a corporation also, with a hostile takeover. It's a fucking, like, yoga studio.
Yeah, and I get that the landlord doesn't like Johnny much, but does Kreese project an aura of responsibility? Right. Like, he would be a good tenant.
I'm like, okay, so now I guess... Now you have the lease. You have a
full-blown maniac on your hands.
Right. It's like... And also, it's just like... It would even, this would be equally dumb, but it would make more sense to me if he's like, I'm suing you for violating my trademark of the words Cobra Kai.
Oh, by the way, yeah, maybe Kreese got an LLM while he was out there in Panama or something.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, I mean, what, like, and also, like, Johnny, like, this is a dumb ending that's supposed to be like, look, Johnny's lost everything, but, like, I feel like Johnny doesn't care at this point.
Yeah, and I think that it did that really well, so he says that explicitly, that this was a mistake, and he gestures towards the entire Cobra Kai as a concept.
Yes,
like,
it would actually
re-entering his life. It has given him nothing but pain and like
like Johnny doesn't give a shit. And I think the episode knows this, and like the writers know this, and like William Zabka knows this. But, like, I'm not really sure, like, why they felt the need to have Kreese do the hostile takeover thing, because it's like Johnny doesn't give a shit. This is not rock bottom for Johnny. Rock bottom was, like, losing his surrogate son. Like, not...
And you'll notice in season 1, like, especially when he was telling Miguel about his origin story with Daniel, and he was having those All Valley flashbacks, trauma flashbacks, like, as we got into season 2, to the extent that he was having any montages, it was about him and Miguel, or, you know, it was about those emotional beats. Whereas Daniel, you know, he's having Miyagi flashbacks. He's, like, just having the same flashbacks he always does.
Yeah. And you're right. And, like, definitely, like, you see a shift away from, like, All Valley ending Johnny's life to, like, his father-son relationship with Miguel is, like, the most important thing to him. And, like, yeah. Like, it's almost, like, anticlimactic to be like, and Kreese stole your lease. Yeah. Like, and 8 of your students who really are not going to be able to pay for this as soon as their parents find out.
And I feel like, Johnny was able to make a living before he found karate, and he's like, life keeps shitting in my mouth. But, right. I mean, the thing that he gained is that relationship with Miguel, and that's what the real loss is. Right,
and so it's like, you could have ended the episode the exact same way if Johnny just shut down Cobra Kai. Like, you could see him just voluntarily doing that, right?
I wish Johnny had, like, thrown some gasoline and just, like, thrown a lit match.
That would have been a better ending.
Stolen Kreese's cigar and just burned the whole thing up.
I know, like, you don't
Angela
really...
Bassett style.
Yeah, because it's like, you could totally see him doing that. He's, like, fucking, like, he's not, like, oh my god, the dojo's everything to me. That's not true. So it's just, like, what is the significance of Kreese?
The quiet certainty in Johnny's voice, and it's like, he's grown so much as a character that he's over Kreese's bullshit.
Yeah.
Kreese's machinations, it's like, look, you're playing with fire. This shitty dojo is yours now. It's run into the ground.
Seriously just a fucking place with, like, 8 psychopath kids in it. Like,
your little sociopath breeding ground.
And actually, I mean, this is the problem for me, is that, like, so I think this episode just, it's so interesting how they're able to balance, like, the batshit goofiness of the brawl and then, like, the rather tragic ending. Kreese's whole persona fits better into, like, the first half.
Yeah, like, I think they're striving for parody. Like, I can see them being like, okay, we open the season with, like, Kreese illuminating the dojo with a cigar and, like, entering Johnny's life in the chaos. And I feel like Kreese's arc has played out.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would have been fine with him not coming back.
Shit, like, enough of this guy, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it would have been, this, like, maybe served as a catalyst as, like, his official break from Cobra Kai. Like, I don't know what season 3 holds for Johnny, but it seems like this is, like, his excuse to walk away, because he's lost the lease, he's lost the physical space.
But, dude, he had an excuse to walk away. Like, I could totally see him being like, Cobra Kai, like, fuck this, it was a mistake. Like, without Kreese ever being there, you know? Like...
Yeah, but I think... I don't know. They like those, like, neat storyline bows. So.
I know. They like the bow, and it's like, you knew that Kreese had to come back.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Kreese is otherworldly. He's supernatural.
He cannot die. He was reborn as a snake several times, according to you.
And doesn't it all check out now? I mean,
I'm not saying it doesn't check out, but yeah.
So, last scene, Johnny... I love this. Cruel Summer plays.
You and Cruel Summer, man.
It's so good, though. But it's like, that's the thing. The show does goofy so well, but it's like a slow, drawn-out, kind of painful. And Johnny actually sells it. He's staring out into the ocean, and he throws a bottle at his beloved Cobra Kai mobile.
Yep. He's, like, done with Cobra Kai, done with the mobile.
He's also done with technology. I love how it's like, he took a chance on so many things this season. He took a chance on love and technology and relationships.
Where did it get him?
And they all disappointed him in some way. So he's just goodbye to all of it. And so, and you noted this, so he throws his phone into the ocean.
It kind of hits the sand, though.
But you see that he's received a friend request from one Allie Mills.
Yes, which I pointed out doesn't really check out, because he sent her a friend request. She would have accepted his friend request.
Yeah, come on, writers.
Yeah.
Continuity.
We caught that, and, like, we're, like, busy making snake theories about Kreese. You could have
just said Allie Mills accepted your friend request.
Right. Come on.
Or, so I want to do now kind of a character by character, where we stand and what predictions.
Okay.
I think this would be fun.
Let's do this.
Okay.
I think Hawk is also reborn as a snake, because why not? Sorry.
You know what? I won't stand for this. Okay, let's start with the main characters. Johnny, what do you think happens? Where does season 3 find Johnny?
I have a feeling we're gonna like see him go on some kind of motorcycle road trip by himself, which I'm not that interested in. I think because ultimately, like, Johnny's character is like at its best and at its finest, like when he's with Miguel. And, like, I don't know. I'd like to see him, like, reading by Miguel's bedside or some shit like that. I don't know.
So I think that his emotional core is with Miguel, and he's very duty-bound. And so I don't see him leaving town. I think he's, like, sticks by Miguel's side. And so his entire focus is, like, helping Miguel recuperate to the extent that Carmen allows him anywhere near there. But, like, I feel like that running away instinct is, like, this is a guy that hasn't left the same town for like 20 years. He's not gonna... The most he ever did was like take a 2-day road trip to go see other close friends.
That's fair.
So, yeah, and I think it's part of his whole like sense of honor is he's not someone who deserts people in need.
I don't know, man. I mean, Robbie would say that he deserted their family.
Yeah, but that was old.
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
exactly. He's grown.
I mean, actually, so here's something interesting.
And he actually, loves Miguel. Like,
he does.
Robbie.
but yeah, well, fine. But, like, actually, I'm interested... No, actually, wait, I'm calling it right now. Robbie is probably, like, a fugitive from the law right now, and may actually go to his dad to hide out. And I think that will actually make Johnny feel very much like his actual son kind of, like, fucked up his karate son.
Yeah.
That's a weird place to be in, yes?
I feel like, Robbie... You were starting to make inroads with your father, and now it's just the door is closed.
No, I mean, I think actually that's the dynamic that we're going to return to because, like, that's what's
maybe
interesting.
Maybe you'll have some anger to work out with Robbie.
Well, yeah, because it's like, Robbie's mad because you abandoned the family. Johnny's mad because you killed his karate son. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're even now.
Speaking of which, how bad do we think Miguel is?
I think he's going to live, but he is going to... They're not going to, like, make him a quadriplegic, but they're going to make it, like, so he can't really, like, function as he used to. Like, he's not going to be able to, like, practice karate anymore.
Ever?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
That's my call. I'm calling it.
So, I think the show creators said they hope to make several seasons of the show, and they have it all planned out. So, I feel like... I think, like, when it opens in season 3, he's not going to be recovered. I feel like it's going to be a season-long recovery effort. But I don't think he's down and out forever.
Maybe. I mean, you're probably right, but like...
Because then, it loses the whole crux of the show. Like, if there's no karate, what is this show about?
Well, like... Okay, so there's this show that I watched...
It's not just going to be him and Johnny having burgers at
Why
home.
not?
I mean, sure, that'd be great, but it's not going to...
There was a show that I watched, like, a few seasons of, like, on Netflix, and... It was called Make It or Break It, and it was about teen gymnasts, which is interesting, especially because, like, there is no other type of gymnast. They're all teens, and they go to they're all training for the Olympics and stuff like that.
Do you age out of gymnasting?
Yes, you do.
Gymnastics?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, women's gymnastics, you're not really competitive by the time you turn 17.
Wow.
So it's like, interestingly, team gymnastics is not the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. That is, like, the big leagues. After that, you're just washed up. But there was this girl, like, one character on the show who was, like, the best gymnast and very dedicated, and she ended up, like, injuring, like, her spine in a fall. And, like, after that, so much of her identity was tied up with gymnastics that she was, like, desperately thinking, like, no, this treatment will work and that will work. But, oh, man, I didn't finish the show, and somebody who did will tell me that I'm wrong, but, like, it seemed like they were getting just towards this idea that she would never be a gymnast again.
Oh, wait a second. I think I saw very similar gymnastics.
It was probably the same goddamn shit, but maybe
it was not a reality show, right?
No, it was
okay,
a fiction
so I
show.
I saw a fictional teen show.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was a fictional show. It was probably Make It or Break It, goddamn you.
Okay, we're gonna compare notes.
We'll compare notes, but
that would be so weird.
Of course it was the same show.
God, are we the same person? We're both Stingray watching the same shit.
Right? I mean, come on. Netflix probably recommends the same shit to both of us.
But we digress.
But, yeah, but, like, I think that's sort of, like, an interesting thing to explore, too, where it's, like, you know, like, I almost think, like, as much
Miguel's
as I would
too young to be, like, a kind of, like, look at what I had. Because he'll be, like, where Johnny was, like, kind of washed up.
Maybe, or maybe it's more about, like, I don't know, like, people get, like, seriously injured and they have to go on with their lives. Like, it'd be kind of interesting if the show is just, like, you know, like, sometimes that happens. Like,
yeah.
That's just you know, that's life, and sometimes you can't do the thing that you used to be able to do, but like your story still goes on, right?
Well, I mean, that would be an interesting arc, because in some ways it's like Daniel has been expressly told no more karate. Johnny's over karate. Miguel can't do karate. Hawk and Kreese are doing Hawk and Kreese stuff.
You know, to be honest with the show, like, there's not that much karate in it, so I think it'll be okay.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about karate.
There's a lot of talk about karate. I mean, yeah, but
it's like when you're not doing karate, you're talking about karate.
It's true. Everybody's always like talking about. Okay, what do you see for like? Let's see. So Robbie, like he's a fugitive, yeah.
I think Robbie probably tries to run away, but then ends up in juvie or something.
Yeah, actually, sure, definitely.
I can't understand why any of the other people that were involved in this fight, like Hawk, who probably has like 50 witnesses to like the carnage that he laid. Why isn't he going to juvie? How is he able to like go back to the dojo that same night and like be?
There are a bunch of things where it's like, well, somebody's probably pressing charges against someone, yeah?
Yeah.
And like, again, Hawk's parents who, like, you see Hawk's mom, like, they're like concerned upper middle class parents. This kid would be grounded for the rest of his fucking life. And like,
I don't know how much parenting they're doing.
I think,
like,
I mean,
look at what he's.
The thing about, like, well, yeah, but he's a psychopath because, like, he's raging against his former nerdy self. Like, these are not, like, this is not a high school that sees a lot of fights. Well, I mean,
I don't know about that.
Asian Bully did have his reign of terror, but, like, come on, this is, like...
But it was, maybe they didn't show this, but maybe if they had been like, this was a normal high school, and then karate, like, extended its dark grasp, and then everyone fell into these factions, because it did feel
I mean, that is what happened.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, fair enough, but, like, I don't think the parents would be like, well, that's just West Valley for... No, I mean, like...
Maybe it'll be like the town from, like...
These are...
Footloose, where it said they banned karate.
That would be great, actually. No more karate.
Led by Mayor Amanda.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, I see, like, definitely the fissures. Like, I think, like, that marital strife that you've been longing for, I could see that.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, so you don't think they just papered it over for good?
I mean, I think when Amanda is just like, no more karate ever, like, I think she means that. And I think Daniel's gonna try to, like, get around that somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, so you don't think Daniel's learned anything?
I think that...
Because we see him, one of his last scenes is he's putting away one of his thousands of Miyagi portraits.
That's
away.
true.
It's like, and he's like, I failed you, and it's like...
he says, like, actually it's nice. He's like, I tried to do the right thing.
Did you, though?
I don't know if he... Like, okay, I think, like, there's this moment at the end of season 1 where, like, when Miguel wins the tournament by basically taking a cheap shot and everything... And there's, like, this look on Johnny's face where he's like, I fucked up. Mm-hmm. I don't think you see the same revelation with Daniel.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Because
There's
it's
no
like,
self-awareness.
He doesn't even think he fucked up at all until Amanda is like, no more karate.
Yeah, and I guess this is, like, a very, like, red herring, maybe. But he's seen, like, on the bed is the history of Okinawa. And I think one of the few things that I know about season 3 is he's going to Japan.
Yeah, no, there we go.
And it's so weird because it's like, that actually is perfect because... Daniel has constructed this perfect life with his perfect daughter and marriage, and so he can't deal with reality very well. So like he would run away, I think. Yeah, and like even when it seems obvious, the thing that you should do is be here for your family and like work on your business and being a good husband and all that bullshit. He's probably like, actually, the thing I should do is go to Japan. Yeah, and I think since we know this is going to happen, I'm just wondering like. Is this the split? Like him and Amanda separate? Because I'm just like, how? In what world are you able to leave your family and do this and your business? In Daniel's world. In Daniel world, yeah. And who's going with you? Is Anthony going with you? Probably Sam will go with him. You think so? Yeah. Although you know what I would like to see happen. It's with Sam? The start of school, though. Yeah. You know what's she doing? Just healing her brokenness. I would actually like to see like, you know. This is weird, but, like, in some ways, both Sam and Tory probably feel responsible for what happened to Miguel. Mm. And it would be nice to see them, like, I don't know, come together in some way. Not, like, be, like, necessarily BFFs, but something. To be honest, I don't feel like the writers care enough about the female characters. I'll be super honest. I just don't see very much evidence of that. Writers prove us wrong. They don't care enough to provide them shading beyond, like, boy trouble, or like, I mean, what they're doing with Sam is like, yes, she's fighting against Daniel's image of her, and so were she to have a real dark arc in season 3?
She just started getting an arc in like this episode, I would say, and like again, like I agree with you totally. I feel like the potential is there just because of how like good the Sam and Tory fight is, and it's almost like if they care about the choreographing of the fight.
Do you think they're going to keep Tory?
Probably not, but like I mean,
it's so great because I feel like her fighting is the most fun to watch.
It's the most fun to watch, and it's like, you know, like I totally agree with you, but like I feel like just the fact that the fight was so good, and usually in something like this, the chick fight would be over within like 30 seconds or so. And theirs was like so much the most compelling one. Like I don't know, it would be cool if they did something with this. That would be neat.
Yeah. In terms of like who's gonna end up friends, like in terms of like a relationship arc, do you think Robbie and Sam are done?
Yeah,
because Sam I felt like was over it even at the locker scene where she was maybe realizing that like
they're so done. Like I mean, and
did
also,
she ever like him? I'm just so confused by her.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like because Sam spent like 2 seasons just fucking around. You're like, does she like either of them? Both of them? Neither? I don't know.
Yeah.
But she does seem to feel something for Miguel, and Miguel just broke his back, and like you know, Sam blames Robbie. No, they're done. There's no.
Yeah.
I think what we'll see is like. I'd hope to see like Sam and Tory because that'd be an interesting relationship that finally Sam doesn't have with with a guy.
Sam is such a nothing that I don't feel like she has anything in common with any character. Like her and Robbie just both seem pleasantly vanilla.
Yep, they live in the same house.
They're destined to be more like friends than anything else. Miguel is entirely too interesting a character to waste on her, and he has moved on, and I don't know. He seems like the kind of person that would forgive her for this, or like, I don't know that he. I don't know.
What, Robbie? Or...
No, I think that Miguel is probably like done with Sam, done with that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I don't think they're going to get back together.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that I think that they're done there. I think like they'll figure something else with Sam. I think like Robbie's like next big arc is going to be with Johnny.
No, man, I just don't want to see it.
Why not?
Well, I think I guess I feel like Johnny is going to be at Miguel's side. And
yeah, I mean, but that's what's going to make it like weird and complicated, right?
Yeah. And what, Robbie's in juvie or Robbie's run away? What do you think?
I mean, I kind of think Robbie's run away. Like he's used to like sort of, I don't know, committing petty theft on the streets.
I never felt like he could hack it.
No, I never felt like he could hack it.
Maybe he's gonna go live with his mom, who's in rehab.
Maybe.
Never mind, not an option.
But yeah, I feel like that he's gonna. I mean, I feel like either he's gonna be in juvie or be like living on the streets because like you do face consequences when something like this happens. You know,
one would think.
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen to Kreese?
Oh, jeez.
I know.
Christ. He will like mentor Hawk to commit genocide, and yeah, why the fuck
karate
not?
Genocide? Okay. Yeah. So
Hawk has learned nothing. So
who do you think is going to come into town? Because we got to have some new characters.
God, they're just going to like bring Allie and Terry Silver into town.
Do you think? I mean,
no, Terry Silver is not Miguel's father. Yeah, calling it now. Nope.
Okay. Here's my overarching predictions for season 3.
Does Kreese turn into a snake?
No. Not yet, anyway.
Okay, all right, let's hear this.
So I think Miguel's in the hospital, really fucked up back. I think Allie comes into town for 2 reasons. One, maybe she's Tory's birth.
No! Oh my God!
And she hears that Tory's in a hell of a lot of trouble, possibly facing jail time. And she's like, okay. And
she is not Tory's birth mom.
Just hear me out here.
Oh, my God.
She comes into town. And has to work with Johnny and fix Miguel's back. And also, she and Johnny have that same kind of dynamic where they both ran out on their birth. I don't know. This is running away from me.
I wish you could film my expression right now.
Okay, so, I mean, you do agree with me that Allie is going to be a presence, right?
I do.
So how do you think she's going to come into town?
I hate to break this to you, but it's really a lot harder for, like, a woman to, like, you know, a cut and run. Like, so rich girl Allie abandons her child with Like,
she got pregnant. She gave it up for adoption. Tory has a foster mom, which is why she's probably running loose.
Tory doesn't have a foster mom. Tory just has a mom.
Do we know that for sure?
She refers to her as her mom.
Yes, because she's had her since she was a baby, so she's a mom, but she might be an adopted.
Well, I mean, your adopted mom's still your mom.
Right, but I'm saying Allie, it's still plausible that
But she gave up all parental rights if Tory's adopted.
Yeah, or Allie comes in for... I mean, what do you think would bring Allie into town?
She's a surgeon. Bam.
Yeah, but what is she reading Surgery Weekly? And she's like, I hear there's a teenager with a...
She's the best in the world at karate spine injuries. Bam.
And what, you think Carmen can afford the best surgeon in the world? With our shitty healthcare system? Come on, these are... Now you're going crazy, okay?
Okay, sorry, never mind.
This isn't Switzerland. Fuck. Carmen's lucky if Miguel gets, like, the chop shop guy from around the corner.
Okay, wait, I got it. Allie is, like, the greatest surgeon in the world, but like many a genius, she's always in search of the next challenge. And like this, everyone's like, no, it's impossible. But Allie is
can't be done.
Oh, let me do it. Magic fingers I have. And then I don't know why she talks like Yoda. But she comes out to California to like basically work a miracle. Because that's why they call her Allie Miracle Worker Schwarber.
Mills.
Yeah.
What I find kind of perplexing is how I really do think Johnny's going to stay in town, but I don't understand how they're going to keep the season going if Daniel's in Okinawa.
Yeah,
with Sam.
You cut back and forth. Why not?
So then their storylines don't really touch.
Yeah. They probably won't until like the end of season 3 when they team up to like fight Kreese in a parking lot. Sure, why not?
That would be kind of a letdown because I don't feel like Kreese is more like an annoying menace than a menace.
So annoying, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that Kreese is like just every time like he says anything, I roll my eyes hard. I almost think if you're gonna have like as like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like every season would have like a big bad, and it wasn't always like who you thought it was gonna be. I think Hawk. I could see that.
That's true.
There's like an element of Hawk that's like
he's still like 17.
He is 17, but like he's scary, but he's realistic scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you see him and you're like, yep, no, I buy that he would do all of the things that he does.
So I mean, he clearly still has like a soft spot for Miguel. So who do you think is his enemy in season 3?
I don't know, man. Like he's like a really volatile person. Like I don't know, he's the kind of person you can imagine shooting up a school or something.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
I think that in Daniel's absence, Anthony will join Cobra Kai.
Well, I mean, yeah, why not? He needs
what else
love.
are they gonna do with Anthony?
They really need to like.
That would be. I could see him being like Daniel's so territorial over his family. He doesn't seem to care as long as like. The only reason he'd care is if he thought Cobra Kai was trying to take something from him. So he's like, oh, Anthony, whatever.
Yeah, I don't see him actually caring. Like, oh well.
Yeah.
I would love it if he goes to Okinawa and meditates at Miyagi's grave and has a sudden revelation like, I'm a shitty father. I have 2 children.
He talks to Miyagi's other students and he finds out they're all like went a different way and they're psychopaths. He finds out Miyagi's not the guy. Like Miyagi's running from war crimes he committed. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta say, I wonder if they've ridden themselves into a corner a little bit.
They said they had several seasons planned, which is kind of like, I'm impressed and kind of like, I don't know.
I mean, so what do you think as a whole about the season?
I think by the time we got to this excellent finale, I felt a little exhausted and I feel like it was too little of the characters I care about the most. And Daniel went from being like a good counterbalance in season 1 to just particularly annoying me. Like the lack of growth, where it's like you could see that, like you said, they were kind of buffering in order to bring us the season finale and like giving us filler episodes. But for the whole season and the show to work, you have to be like, both of these characters are moving forward on their own journey. And it's like Daniel shows it's like frustrating lack of growth. Like,
yeah.
And even his wife is over it. I mean, I don't understand how us as the viewers are supposed to stick with him through yet another season.
I mean, yeah, that's right, because it's like
Kreese. It's like Kreese shows no. He's like so one
Kreese
note
is
that
static.
you're like,
Kreese is
we're
always
done.
Kreese.
We've seen what you can do. Go away now. And I feel that way about Daniel, where I'm like, if you had shown any shades of like,
right,
like he did at the season finale of season 1, where he showed that he had that touching talk with Robbie, and he was like willing to let go, but then he like bounced back, and
it's true. And I feel like so in season 1, they did this interesting thing where like, they subverted expectations and they made Daniel like, you're like, this guy's a dick, man. Like, even when he was like, he's not like a villainous guy, but like, you could see that he was sort of like, like self-deluding about certain things, like a guy who always thought he was right. And like, the show like seemed like really aware of that. Like, it was just like, yeah, no, he's not perfect either. This season, I feel like they had this glorious image, and it is glorious, of like, this high school brawl with like 10 different Cobra Kai Miyagi rivalries. And they're like, how do you make that happen? Well, you need to set up a rival dojo to Cobra Kai. Daniel needs to set it up. Okay, so if he does set it up, like, what kind, like, it's like, then you have to be like, well, yeah, and he's got to be like really obsessed with like kind of like beating Cobra Kai. So there's got to be like lots of tension between them. And so he can't grow, because it's like, in order for him to do that, in order for them to be this like epic dojo versus dojo, 2 dojos each alike in valor kind of thing, you have to have Daniel like still obsessing over their rivalry. Yeah. Otherwise, like, it wouldn't happen. Yeah. So it's almost like, I get it. Like, they wanted this to happen. They wanted this finale, and everything that you need to do to set that up is kind of like a little tedious, where it's like, oh, Daniel decides like to let it go. Wait, never mind. No, he's not. Oh, wait, Daniel's okay with like living and living. No, never mind. Like, he thinks Cobra Kai is the enemy.
And I wonder if it's just the limitations of like, they want to do like a character sketch of Daniel being kind of stubborn and quick to anger, and I'm glad that they kept those qualities. But it's like, is part of his personality that he just can't move on from things. Like, he's so then he is our villain for the show.
I mean, the thing that I think is cool, not cool, but what's compelling about Daniel, like especially in the first season, is that he is a guy who thinks that he is always the good guy.
Yeah.
Which is true of like many people, and like it's realistic, it's infuriating.
Yeah, it's like, look at your track record, man.
Right.
It's not great.
But it's like, I thought that was like just really well done, and the show seemed, at least they used to seem, maybe they still are, like pretty self-aware about it, that it's like, he's not always in the right, but in his head, it's very black and white. And it's like, he's always like the good guy, like Cobra Kai and Johnny and all these people are always villainous. And it's just like, that makes him sort of interesting to watch, even if it's like, even if you feel like infuriated by him. Like, probably like, my favorite episode, which like left me wanting to scream at Daniel, was just like when he keeps like trying to like sabotage Cobra Kai by like raising their rent,
Oh god.
And it's like,
that was a real,
it's like totally psychotic, and his wife is just like, why are you such a psycho? Which is just like, I don't know, like I thought that was like a perfect encapsulation. He's not like an evil man, but he's the kind of dude who thinks like, I'm just like beating the bad guys by like getting this small business to
one
struggle.
can only hope that for the sake of the show that whatever goes down in Okinawa saves his character, because he's pretty close to irredeemable at this point for me. We've had to see him struggle through, like, so many people have tried to give him good advice and he just doesn't seem to internalize any of it. And Johnny is like a sponge where he's like constantly evolving. Like he had a real couch. Like in that fight scene, it was like, hey, you look around, that's a real couch. Good for you.
All right.
Good for you, buddy. You're off the floor.
To be fair, like to Daniel, oh man, see what you're making me do. I gotta be like a Daniel's advocate now. But, get it? Daniel's advocate. But like, Johnny, like, had a lot more room to grow. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, his like
he started from nothing.
Basically it's like he was like a sexist, misogynistic, former bully, like, and
one would argue that then it's much harder to grow when they're both around the same age, so it's like hard for them to change regardless, but he's coming from like, he's unlearning decades of tech ignorance.
Totally. But like, that makes it like, if you're like writing his character, then there's like a lot more room to like show like, his slow evolution. Like, you know, like for instance, like in the first episode, he's like yelling at Miguel for being an immigrant. In the second season, he's like, when Kreese calls Miguel that Mexican kid, and like Johnny's like, he's like, no, he's from
Ecuador.
You know, I don't know, like so there's more room to do that. With Daniel, he's like, he was the hero of the Karate Kid saga. Now he's like a well-to-do, cultured businessman. Like,
what I want is anyone to confront Daniel on his bullshit. Like, someone besides Amanda who's kind of doing the tough love thing, but it's not really landing. I think it should probably come from Sam. I think that is his second closest relationship.
No, that's very true.
And because he sees her as perfect. And if she were to be like, look, you're doing all this awful shit in the name of defending Miyagi, and Miyagi would have been disappointed in all of this.
You're right. If it was going to come from anybody, it was going to come from Sam, who like also kind of idolizes her dad, so it would be like nice to actually just see that fray a bit. Actually, you know what I'd like to see?
Or Anthony just being like...
I'm not really on this show, but hey, Dad.
You suck, Dad.
You suck.
So no, the great tragedy of Anthony is that he defends his father.
God. The most tragic of characters, that Anthony. No, I mean, actually, I would like to see the Sam Daniel relationship like challenged. I would like to see it fray. That I think would mean way more than a divorce or anything.
Because maybe she's like upset at Robbie, but like, I don't know. Maybe Daniel's reaction to this whole incident is just to build this fortress around the family and like wall it off against. And, like, Sam just wants to, like, apologize and make amends. And
yeah, I mean, I could see that. Or, like, I could see them going to Okinawa. I would love it. See what I have this feeling that, like, they're going to go to Okinawa.
They're all
and,
expelled.
Like,
that's how they get away from not having to go to school.
And it's just karate all the time.
I mean, let's be honest. Maybe they just condemn the school because any high school that let this happen.
Right. You know. It's just, like, burned to the ground and salt the earth. But, yeah, I have a feeling that, like, Daniel's going to go to Okinawa and he's going to do all the... Oh, God.
We're going to see just so much fucking kata.
Yeah. It's basically a lot of kata, a lot of visiting, like, places that Miyagi loved, a lot of, like Eastern music playing.
I want to see, like, trying to track down Miyagi's relatives, and Miyagi's relatives be like, we heard about this psycho that Miyagi, like, that you stole his car, and I want a different origin story. That's how he realizes that he's not a good guy.
It's like, oh, God, did I make it all up? Is this just, like, shit Memento or something? But yes, writers think about this. But I also would I would love it if like he actually went to Okinawa with Samantha and you watch the relationship deteriorate while they're there.
That is great.
I mean, because that would be interesting instead of like
And who would she bond towards now?
Why does she have to bond towards anybody? Maybe she's just isolated. I could see that. Like, yeah, I mean, kind of after this season, if like all this stuff happened to me, I would probably be pretty isolated after that. I could totally see their bond fraying and that being an interesting place to go, as opposed to like, and then Daniel has a revelation that balance is important. Like, you keep having that revelation. Stop it. No more.
Related, what do you think happens with Amanda and him?
I think that it's tense.
I don't think the show will go there.
No. But I think you're actually right. You raise a good point. I think it's almost like it's less important that Amanda call him out and more important that Sam does. Like, Amanda does that from time to time, but, you know, whatever, she's there. But Sam, like,
because he doesn't really care what his wife says.
Yeah, not really. But Samantha is, like, the person he, like, I think is, like, he idolizes her. They idolize each other. They never really conflict with each other. Not seriously, you know?
Yeah. Okay, heavy stuff.
I know, right? Gosh. We went some places.
We went to a dark place. So we have all of our predictions logged.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like none of them will come true.
The Kreese Anthony Hawk genocide.
Right? That murder-suicide pact that we can look forward to.
I dare not hope that Terry Silver will make an appearance.
But maybe Snake Kreese will. So.
I've never seen the second Karate Kid. So I don't know about any of these other random characters. But,
listeners, we are going to actually watch and review Karate Kid 2, as we did with Karate Kid 1. So the two of you that are listening, like, you
there's more. There's so many more. What's up, fan in Saudi Arabia?
This one's for you.
This one's for you. Okay, so do you want to give a season rating?
Whoa.
Yeah, or just an episode rating.
Well, we got to do both.
Yeah. Okay.
First episode rating.
Okay. I give this episode 5 out of 5 Cruel Summers. Because it was just, it had everything. It had everything that makes me love this show. A little bit of emotion and like actual fights, great fights. I think it left it in a good place.
I agree. I give it, I'm only jockeying a little bit for
Kreese.
Yeah, there's only 2 things. It was the Kreese thing at the end, and it was the Daniel-Johnny fight at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I'm giving it 4.5 Tory's haunting rage screams.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Now we gotta do the season. So you gotta come up with a whole new rating system.
Jeez.
I know. You gotta tie it all together, Nina. I can go first if you want.
Please do.
All right. Well, I think I got on record by saying all the things that were kind of disappointing about season 2, especially compared to season 1. Although they did kind of bring it in the last couple of episodes. So let's split the difference. 2.5. Shit. Oh God. I started rating, but I didn't come up with my system yet.
It's so hard.
No, quick, stall for time. Well, nobody can see you dancing. That doesn't work. 2.5.
This is dead air.
Ominous Facebook friend requests.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it old school and do 3, because this episode or this season had some fun moments. And 3 out of 5 Miyagi scrapbooks. I would say one of thousands of Miyagi scrapbooks.
Man,
it's really Miyagi's specter that haunts the show. It's the real the exorcism that needs to happen.
Miyagi needs to come back next season.
Yeah.
I mean,
remember our long-standing theory that he never was a person. He was always dead, and that
he's a ghost that's been haunting Daniel intermittently.
Yeah, so Daniel has go with me here, guys, as we close this out. Daniel has told the story of Miyagi to different people, but only a few people have borne witness to Miyagi.
Maybe he's always been a figment of Daniel's imagination.
Right. Oh my God.
Whoa.
I think we've mentioned this before.
I don't know if we have, but it's still chilling.
We said we'd recut it as a horror movie, that he would kidnap the fisherman, keep him in the basement.
Oh, jeez.
It got dark. But yeah.
Well, now you've made it so that we have to end on this really awkward and dark
No, we're ending
note.
on a cruel summer note.
Oh, God. But I will say that this is... the 3rd season of Cobra Kai hasn't come out yet, and we decided...
We don't even know the release date.
Right? We decided to start this podcast actually after having watched the first 2 seasons. So to me, although I hope our journey will continue, it does seem like kind of a really pivotal moment that we've come to the end of all the episodes that exist.
That's true. We just have Karate Kid Part 2 and Part 3 to review.
Oh, and then of course the Hilary Swank one. And we also got to do the Jaden Smith one.
No! Oh,
Nina,
I forgot all about those.
Nina, we made a commitment.
I don't know if I'm strong enough to
We
sit through
made a commitment.
It's this feeling that I never want to see Hilary Swank again in anything.
Wow, way
yeah,
harsh.
I just... Okay.
Listeners, if you have any thoughts to offer about this heinous dismissing of Hilary Swank's body of work,
or give us feedback or any of our fan theories, grounded though they are, I'm sure there's room for improvement. You can follow us at Kai_cast on Twitter, or email us with your burning karate questions at CobraKaiNeverDies@gmail.com.
And as always,
strike first.
Strike hard.
No mercy.